Now we're blown away.
Yeah. I look like a harbour master.
Yeah, it looks official now.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
It's okay. Hi, my name is Ian, and for the last 20 years I've been living on an old steel ketch called Blown Away, and I'm here to share that adventure with you. We're just on the approaches to the Rio Bridge. In this week's episode, I'm going to introduce you to the small island of Trizonia and the reasons why I've stayed here as long as I have. So welcome on board, and I hope you enjoy the video. So firstly, let's take a look at where Trizonia lies in the scheme of things. And as you can see, the island of Trizonia sits in the Gulf of Corinth, roughly halfway between the Ionian and the Corinth Canal. So it makes for an ideal stop-off point if you're heading in either direction, east or west. But it's also a really good cruising ground in its own right. The Gulf of Corinth has many anchorages and harbours, but none are as good as Trizonia. In any kind of bad weather, everybody's heading here. And because the only connection to the mainland is via a small water taxi, it's probably one of the most peaceful places you could ever imagine. There's very little point in owning a car here because the island is so small. Most people have golf carts. There are 3 or 4 local tavernas to eat at, and also a hotel, several beaches, and lots of cats.
That's great. I will keep on doing this.
Yeah, there's loads to do with, because now the mud goes soft and then we walk on it and then it goes everywhere, so fine job.
Oh, it's really dirty.
The pressure coming through.
Yeah, I was surprised. Like an international aid effort to get water into the tanks on Blown Away. How many hose reels? Like 6, I think. 6 plus all the connectors, plus all the hose fittings. Amazing. I love the boating community. So that's 8 boat hoses. Thank you to everybody who joined in. Bob Geldof would have been proud of us. This is?
Huh?
You know who's full? Yeah, because you said let's go swimming.
No, you didn't eat all your stuff.
You said to me let's go swimming, and now look what happens. So the first reason we came into Trizonia is because of a bad weather forecast. Lightning camera action. It's funny that we're all to look out the back window. Not that there is a window.
Actually, there are some hills behind.
Yeah, there used to be some hills over there. Now we're shrouded in mists and rain, which is great because I've been out cleaning the boat. It doesn't matter how much work you do to your boat. She just doesn't love you back. That is the hatch frame has opened up because we've had so much heat, 40 degrees of heat. These joints have shrunk, and so has this one, and so has that one. Like, It's dripping everywhere. This one's leaking. Real boat life. Boom!
On boat?
The boat. You're in the rain and you wash the boat. Look at this. Look at this. On the Sahara. So yeah, you didn't tell me you were bringing a dog.
Yeah, now we have a dog on board. I hope you're happy with it. And I brought some trash.
You brought some trash.
Yeah.
That's all your possessions in the... And this is part of the reason that I'm still in Trizonia, for those of you who've been asking.
Good boy, Milo.
And Milo and my friend Nicholas would be the second reason I've stayed in Trizonia.
The dog is Milo. Belongs to a friend of mine, Nicholas, who's ill. And is currently in Athens in hospital. Been there for about a week. So the community's come together. There's about 5 boats here that come and go. And we've all been taking care of the dog for him. Sit. He's so gentle. He's such a good dog. He takes his food away. He's obviously worried I'm going to steal it back. Don't bury it. You won't get it back if you bury it. Did you bury that chicken? Milo? Milo. I've got more of it, mate. You don't need to bury it. Why does he bury his food? Why did he bury it? Cats will get out. Nicholas, your dog is well cared for. Everybody around here is looking after him, and we hope you get well soon. Nice coffee.
And sadly, it is time to say goodbye to Dee. Dee's been with us for the last week. She's off on the water taxi back to Germany. Thanks, Dee. And although this area is in itself a beautiful cruising ground, a lot of people are transient. So they come in, spend one night and then leave the next morning. And it's the only marina between Corinth Canal and the Ionian. So in any kind of bad weather, this place fills up fast. But the good news is that it's not run by a private entity. This is a council run marina, and as such is governed on its prices by the government. There is no fancy shower block, there are no electric posts, there are only water posts, and those are at the top of each dock, so as you've seen, it can be a challenge to get water to your boat. Other than that, this place is idyllic. Now, the harbour master Thanos comes in the afternoons to collect money. He is not here as a marinero to take lines. Other cruisers will come off their boats to help you tie alongside.
I look like a harbour master.
Yeah, it looks official now.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
It's okay. It's a pleasure.
And meet Thanos. Thanos is the local harbour master, probably one of the most helpful people I've ever met. And he's now rocking a blown away polo shirt. If you'd like one, send me a message in the comments.
How's things?
You're better here. You probably...
More rain? Yeah, it was in the forecast, I think, for today, more rain.
Around 3 o'clock, not after.
Oh, okay. Let's hope.
But
who knows, huh?
you never know.
Inshallah.
All good with the phone and the internet?
No.
No, still no.
No internet. No.
Often in storms, especially electrical storms in this area, you can expect the internet and the mobile phone network to be knocked out, as is the case from last night's storm. But who needs the internet? Look how beautiful this place is. But as is the cruiser's lifestyle. Even in paradise, things still break.
I woke up this morning and the fridge isn't working, which is a nightmare because yesterday I filled it up with food. I suspect the water intake has got blocked up, which probably means I'm going to have to go over the side of the boat and unblock it. The other problem I've been getting is with the inverter that I'm fitted. So back during the winter I put a new inverter in here. It's a 12 volt 2 kilowatt inverter, and it gets to about 700-800 watts of output and is then turning off. So I've purchased a different fuse. I suspect it's the fuse that's causing the problem. I suspect there's a big resistance through the thermal switch that I bought. It was an eBay purchase, so maybe a cheap copy of something that should be a lot better. So I've bought the genuine Victron one now. So yeah, I've been out and bought this, which is a Victron fuse. The other one's a thermal switch, a bit like on the windlass. If the windlass is running for too long, the cable warms up or the machine warms up and it trips the thermal overload. That's what I fitted because I figured it was resettable. Whereas this, if it blows, it's a fuse. I have to fit another one. But I wasn't overly happy with that thermal switch when I bought it because the post fittings were something like 6mm, and it didn't feel like the surface contact was big enough. Like the cable sizes are huge, but the surface contact for that thermal switch was really small, and I suspect there's a resistance going through that and the machine's sensing it and then switching itself off. I don't think it can draw enough current through that thermal switch, so I'm going to replace it with this today. That's plan A. And the other thing is clearing the fridge out. There's a filter in the same compartment as this needs to go, so I'm going to do the two things together. Clean the filter out for the fridge, fit this, possibly go over the side with some scuba kit on. Maybe I need to clear the intake. Sometimes it gets blocked up with seaweed and other bits of floaty crap around, and then the fridge doesn't work very efficiently. Let's find out. Here it is running, but looking at the pipe, there's very little water flow going through there, and I need to clean the filter out, I suspect, and then change the fuse for that puppy. This new floor is just so much easier than the old one. For me to do odd jobs and bits of maintenance and stuff, it's just a bit of a pleasure now, to be honest. Yeah, there's a fair bit of trash inside of there. It gets caked up with weed. So we'll turn the fridge off. It's not sucking any fluids. Fridge is turned off, not sucking in any water. Let's take a look, see if we can clean this. Oh wow, yeah, okay, there's the problem. I think we can safely say that's the trouble. Quick rinse off and back on. Okay. Take a look over the side, see if we've got any water flowing out, hopefully. If not, I'm going for a swim. No. Rats. Okay. That's not great. Okay, another fix. Something else I have to do. So this is significantly beefier than what is in there at the moment. Fuse off, I'll put the fuse on last. Okay, let's take the old one off. So the ring terminal that was on there were 8mm posts, and the new one I need is much bigger. So I'm going to take the cable off, and I'll drill the cable out. Rather than crimp new ends on, I can just drill it, it'll be fine. I was never that happy with this thing. Like it just feels flimsy. Like in comparison to all the other things that I put on that are genuine Victron, etc. This is the only thing that's not Victron. And I bought it off of eBay, and it's rated at 300 amps. But I'm fairly confident this is a problem because it kept tripping. There was no reason for it to trip. Like there was no way it was drawing 300 amps, and it kept tripping. So just to keep it running last night, I put some butyl on there just to stop it. And I think this is my issue. Let's find out. These drill bits are all cobalt. The ones in the tubes are all cobalt drills. The thing with cobalt, it just makes such a difference when you're drilling. I don't have any hassle making a hole in a piece of metal, whereas using high-speed drill bits, very often it's a problem. Okay, I don't have the vise set up, and I'm not going to mess about setting that up just to drill one hole. So let's do this with the vice grips. I'm just doing this slowly simply because I don't want all these metal shavings going over the floor, and I do not want to be walking on them. Perfect. Right, back up top. It's hot in here. I won't tighten that up yet. I need to make sure that the cable's in the correct position. But already it kind of feels beefier. That makes sense. I did have an electrician in here once who went to drill a hole through a steel plate, and I stopped him really quickly because it was the steel plate that is the inside of my fuel tank. Get these in position, and then I'll add the fuse in. Worried about dropping the screw, so some butyl on the screwdriver. Push the screw on, mould the butyl around the screw head. The screw does not fall off. Okay. Ta-da! Always keep butyl on a boat. There's so many uses. Okay. Okay, have a spare fuse. I don't want to lose the spare fuse. I don't want to put the spare fuse somewhere where I can't find it. So I'm going to attach it to the cable just there using a zip tie. I do this with most of my external fuse holders, and that way the fuse is always next to the problem. Job done. Okay, the fan is plugged in. We'll switch that on. Oh yeah. Okay. Next test is the coffee machine. Okay. So far so good. It has not tripped the inverter. 1300 watts. So this puppy here, supposedly suitable for the job, sold to me by a supplier, sold to me by a maritime supplier, is useless. It's tripping way before it's tripping way before 300 amps. Yeah, don't fit these, don't fit one of these. That's going in the trash. Worth the sweat.
Sometimes I just don't have the chance to pick up a camera before something exciting happens, and this is kind of one of those cases. A long story short, this powerboat that you see in the picture at the moment came into the harbour with a fuel leak. Now the fuel was running from the portside tank straight into the bilge, and there was no way to turn off the bilge pump. There was no off switch. Now, this boat is 2 months old and the fuel tank has a split in it, so time is of the essence. Remove the diesel before it goes into the harbour. And as there are no marine engineering companies on this island, I couldn't sit back and watch 1,800 litres of fuel pumped into the harbour. So I grabbed my transfer pump and went across to help. The first thing I'm going to do is cut the wire into the bilge pump to prevent any more fuel going over the side of the boat. Secondly, I'm going to start pumping the fuel tank, because as I reduce the height of fuel in the tank, I reduce the speed of the leak. Back to the tank. Back to the tank. Unfortunately, we were able to pump 1,400 litres, give or take, into a container in the back of a pickup truck. That's a lot of fuel. Yep. And once I pump the tank dry, it's now time to look at the bilges. And it may not look like it, but at the moment there's about half a metre of diesel in the bilge.
Schon fast voll, Bruno. Jetzt nächste.
So following on from the big powerboat, I need to get the generator running because they've drained the batteries down on that big powerboat. overnight they've left stuff running basically, and the gen set's not runnable because it takes diesel from the port tank, which is the 1,400 litres I pumped out last night during the night to prevent a pollution spill in the harbour. I need to rig a fuel line into a jerry can to run their generator to get the batteries going again. Once we have the batteries back up, then I can then try and get the other engine running from starboard tank. Maybe I have to rig another fuel line, or possibly we only run it on one engine, but that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm in the deepest, darkest storage area, which is where all the fuel hoses and things are hidden, and I'm hoping I've got some fuel line in there. So yesterday I was asked to pump the fuel out from this tank, which is 1,400 litres, because it was leaking into the bilge. So the tank is now empty. Still some fuel in the engine compartments, but we can't get to that. And the batteries are now dead because everything's been running overnight. I'm going to try and run it off of jerry cans. So what I've done is fairly simple. I've taken the fuel supply line off of the port tank, which is now empty, and I've put it into a 20 litre jerry can of fuel. The generator is a diesel engine, so it has a fuel return. The return pipe goes back to the tank. If it goes back to the port tank, it will just run out of the crack and cause more pollution. So I've taken the return pipe and also put that into the jerry can. And the blue valve that you see centre of screen now is a fuel cut-off switch. With the generator running, that switch was open and allowing a small amount of diesel to drip from the tank. So we used a short piece of hose with a plug and blocked it off. And with the generator running, this vessel is now able to charge its batteries. Knowing that this genset burns around 2 litres an hour, we should be good for 10 hours. And with some of the refrigeration shut down and the air conditioning left off, I think we'll be good for a lot longer. Oh, the horn! And as always, a big shout out to our monthly Ko-fi supporters. The McKenna family, David Luchford, Captain Svetlana, Graham Elvey, thank you very much for your monthly donations, much appreciated. And these attractive people here have sent donations via Ko-fi, sometimes as one-off payments, or in the case of Kate and Fraser Buchanan, in the form of paintbrushes. Thank you very much. And if you're into social media, follow me on Facebook, it is SVBlown. And a big shout out to our monthly patrons, Matt, Michael, Ian, Miles, Timmy, JG, Jim Bracken, Johannes and Thomas. Thank you, gentlemen. Your donations have purchased a new camera. More about that coming up soon. And if you're interested in buying one of these polo shirts, drop me a comment down below. If you would like to watch more of these videos, click the button on the left. Don't forget to subscribe, click the button on the right. If you hit the bell, you will get the notifications of when a new video is released. Thank you for watching and hope to see you again next week.